I remember the first time it happened, and it plays in my mind like a movie that I wish I could pause and rewrite. His hands were on my waist, his breath was hot against my neck, and for a moment I felt like I was 19 again, reckless, alive, and invincible. I told myself it would be only once, but even in the heat of passion, I knew I was lying. My heart was not just racing with lust, it was trembling with the guilt of a married woman betraying the man who trusted her the most. And what I did not know then was that my secret would not remain mine for long. His family would come to know too, and when they did, everything I thought was secure in my life crumbled into dust. Before I dive deeper, I want to pause for a moment to appreciate you. To all my subscribers, thank you for always fueling this channel with your love and support. To the new viewers, I am so glad you are here, and I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button because that is the energy that powers this channel and keeps these stories alive. Please do not forget to like, share, and most importantly, leave your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you feel as this story unfolds. Now, let us return to where it all began. My name is Claire. I am 34 years old, a wife, a mother of 2, and on the outside, I looked like a woman who had it all. I lived in a beautiful suburban neighborhood in Texas with my husband, Daniel. He was 36, tall, broad-shouldered, and the kind of man everyone respected. He provided, he protected, and he loved me with a loyalty that sometimes felt too good to be true. But here is the truth I could not say out loud. His love felt too safe. Too steady. Too predictable. Somewhere deep inside, I craved the rush of being wanted in a way that made my knees weak and my heart pound. I met Marcus at the gym not far from my neighborhood. He was in his early 40s, athletic, confident, and he carried himself with an energy that pulled women in without effort. He had a way of looking at me that made me feel like the most irresistible woman in the room. I told myself he was harmless, just a distraction from the monotony of my routine. But little by little, our casual smiles turned into conversations. Conversations turned into playful touches. And soon, touches became something more. I will never forget the first night. Daniel was away on a business trip, and the kids were staying with my mother-in-law. Marcus texted me, asking if I wanted to grab a drink. I said yes before my brain could tell me no. The bar was dim, the music was low, and the tension between us was thick enough to choke me. When he leaned in, brushed his lips against mine, I did not pull away. One kiss became 2. 2 became a hotel room. The hotel room became a fire I could not control. The next morning, reality hit me like a train. I stared at myself in the mirror, hair tangled, lipstick smudged, body aching from a night I swore I would never allow again. But the problem with temptation is that once you taste it, your body remembers. My phone buzzed. It was Marcus. Just 2 words, round 2. My heart jumped. I hated how much I wanted to say yes. Days turned into weeks, and my affair with Marcus became a double life. In the morning, I packed lunches for my children and kissed Daniel goodbye. By afternoon, I was tangled in Marcus's sheets, whispering promises I never intended to keep. I told myself I could handle it. I told myself no one would ever know. But Daniel's family began to notice. My mother-in-law, a sharp-eyed woman with no tolerance for nonsense, started asking questions. "You look tired lately, Claire. Is everything all right?" she asked one Sunday during dinner. My father-in-law watched me with quiet suspicion. Even Daniel's sister, Emily, pulled me aside once and asked if I was sure I was happy. Their concern felt like a noose tightening around my neck. One night after a family barbecue, I caught Emily staring at me across the backyard. Her eyes narrowed, as if she knew something I did not realize I had given away. My stomach turned. For the first time, I wondered if my affair was not as hidden as I thought. I told Marcus we needed to be more careful. He laughed, brushed it off, and told me I was being paranoid. But deep down, I knew the walls of my secret life were starting to crack. And what I did not realize was that the storm was coming faster than I could prepare for. The longer I continued, the heavier the lies became. My life had turned into a balancing act between passion and paranoia. I thought I was being careful, but in reality, I was reckless. The walls of my home carried whispers, and soon those whispers turned into questions I could not silence. Every morning, I woke up next to Daniel and felt the weight of his trust pressing down on me. He smiled at me with warmth, kissed me on the forehead, and went off to work without a clue. I should have felt grateful. I should have ended everything. Instead, I found myself sneaking glances at my phone, waiting for Marcus to text me, craving the kind of attention Daniel gave me years ago but now delivered in predictable doses. It was not just the thrill of being wanted. It was the danger of being caught that made my blood rush. But danger is a cruel addiction, because once it starts, it rarely ends without destruction. The first slip happened on a Tuesday afternoon. Marcus and I were in his car, parked behind the gym. My body was pressed against his, my breathing uneven, when I felt the vibration of my phone. It was a message from Daniel's sister, Emily. "Are you busy?" Panic ripped through me. I pulled away, fixed my blouse, and told Marcus that I had to go. He laughed, told me I worried too much, and reached for my hand. But his confidence only made me more uneasy. I rushed home, and when I opened my phone, Emily's text seemed harmless. She wanted to know if I could help her with some errands over the weekend. But the timing shook me. It felt like the universe was warning me that eyes were everywhere. That weekend, I went shopping with Emily. She watched me in a way that made me feel stripped bare. At one point, she asked, "Claire, are you happy with Daniel? You seem different lately." My throat tightened. I forced a smile and said, "Of course I am." She did not argue, but her silence was louder than words. I could tell she did not believe me. Then came the second slip. It was a Friday night, and Daniel and I were at a family dinner at his parents' house. The children were playing in the backyard, and the table was full of laughter and conversation. My phone buzzed in my purse. I thought nothing of it and checked. It was Marcus. 3 words that made my stomach twist: "I miss you." I quickly flipped the screen down, but it was too late. My mother-in-law saw the message before I locked the phone. Her eyes lingered on me, cold and sharp. She said nothing, but I felt her gaze burning into my skin the entire evening. When dinner ended, she hugged me tighter than usual. And in a tone that felt almost like a warning, she whispered, "Be careful, Claire." The more I tried to cover my tracks, the more mistakes I made. Marcus was not discreet either. He called me late at night, sometimes when Daniel was sitting right next to me. I would run into the bathroom, pretending I needed privacy, but Daniel's family was noticing. One Sunday afternoon, Emily showed up at my house unannounced. She walked into the kitchen while I was on the phone with Marcus. I panicked, hung up too quickly, and stammered a greeting. Emily's face was calm, but her eyes betrayed suspicion. She looked at me as if she was waiting for me to slip again. That night, Daniel asked me a question that froze my blood. "Claire, has something changed? My mom said you seem distracted. Emily said you are acting strange. Are you okay?" I forced a laugh, leaned in to kiss him, and told him I was just stressed with housework and the kids. He believed me, or at least, he wanted to. His trust in me was my best shield, but it was also my greatest shame. By the end of the month, I realized that the secret I was trying so hard to protect was no longer mine alone. Daniel's family felt it in the air, saw it in my behavior, and heard it in the cracks of my lies. What terrified me most was not that Daniel would find out. It was that his family, the people who already guarded him fiercely, were beginning to put the pieces together. I could see it in their looks, hear it in their tones, and feel it in the silence that lingered after I left a room. The walls of my life were closing in, and deep down, I knew that the truth was about to explode in a way I could never contain. Secrets never stay secrets for long. They leak through cracks, travel in whispers, and eventually crash into the open with a force so violent that you cannot prepare for it. Mine came crashing down one Saturday evening, when Daniel's family cornered me in the living room of my own home. It started with a phone. My phone. Marcus had been careless, and so had I. He sent me a message that left no room for confusion. Last night was unforgettable. I cannot wait to taste you again. I was in the kitchen, stirring pasta on the stove, when Daniel walked in and saw the notification light up on the counter. His face changed in an instant, confusion, then disbelief, then the kind of pain you cannot cover with words. He did not yell. He did not curse. He just stared at me, his eyes searching for an explanation I could not give. I tried to reach for the phone, but he picked it up before I could. He read the message again, out loud this time, his voice breaking on every syllable. By the time I opened my mouth to speak, I heard footsteps. His parents had arrived early for dinner, and Emily was with them. The timing could not have been worse. They walked into a storm they had probably suspected for weeks, and now they had proof right in front of them. Daniel's mother gasped, covering her mouth with trembling hands. "Claire, what is this?" Emily's eyes narrowed, anger blazing behind them. "I knew it. I knew something was wrong with you." I tried to speak, but my words stumbled out like broken glass. "It is not what it looks like." Daniel cut me off. His voice was low, but it carried the weight of 1,000 storms. Do not insult me with excuses. Do not insult my family with lies." His father, usually calm and measured, shook his head. "You had everything, Claire. A husband who adored you, children who loved you, a family who accepted you as one of us. And you threw it away, for this?" Their judgment felt like fire on my skin. I wanted to scream, to explain, to beg for forgiveness, but the truth was too heavy. There was no way to soften it. I had betrayed Daniel, and now his family knew too. The silence in that room was unbearable. My children, sensing the tension, stayed in their rooms upstairs. I could hear the faint sound of a cartoon playing, innocent and untouched by the chaos brewing downstairs. The thought of them made the shame even sharper. Daniel turned to me, his face pale, his jaw clenched. "Pack your things," he said. "You will not sleep in this house tonight." The words sliced through me. "Daniel, please. Do not touch me," he snapped, pulling away as I reached for his arm. "Do not say my name. You made your choice. And now you will live with it." Emily stepped closer, her voice cold as ice. "You do not deserve him, Claire. You never did." His mother's eyes filled with tears. "You broke this family's trust. We welcomed you. We trusted you. And you repaid us with betrayal." I wanted the ground to open and swallow me whole. The shame was unbearable, but the final blow came when Daniel's father looked me in the eye and said, "Get out." I packed in silence. Every drawer I opened felt like a reminder of the life I had destroyed. Wedding photos. Notes from anniversaries. Drawings my children made for me. Every item was a dagger twisting deeper into my chest. Daniel did not help me. He did not say another word. He just stood in the doorway, arms crossed, his family around him, watching as I gathered the remnants of a life I had shattered. When I finally walked out with my bags, Emily followed me to the door. Her voice was steady, almost eerily calm. "You will regret this for the rest of your life. And that is exactly what you deserve." The door shut behind me with a finality that echoed in my bones. That night, I sat alone in a motel room, staring at the ceiling, replaying every decision that had led me there. The rush of passion, the thrill of secrecy, the lies I told myself, it all seemed so small compared to what I had lost. There was no forgiveness waiting for me. Not from Daniel. Not from his family. And perhaps not even from myself. I cheated on my husband, and now his family knew too. That was the end of the life I once had, and the beginning of a loneliness I could never escape. Because once betrayal comes into the light, love does not just fade, it burns to ashes.